Hi everyone, this is Courtney from Ruby Red Farm. Today I'm going to be talking you through how we've raised over 500 meat chickens with just one chicken tractor like the one you see behind me. So we run a small homestead here in East Central Indiana. We have about 10 acres to work with. Both of us have day jobs outside of farming, and so we take our chicken typically to the farmer's market or we just sell it directly to customers from our farm. The first year that we raised meat chickens, we probably raised about 100. We butchered all of those ourselves, only sold whole birds, and it went really well. We sold out very quickly of those 100 chickens. We had kept enough for us, about 20, and then we sold the rest. With that little bit of success, then of course we decided we had to do more. So again, 2 years ago we raised about 100 meat chickens. Last year we upped it to about 300 chickens once we realized that people really wanted the cuts. They wanted drumsticks, right? They wanted chicken breasts. So we started taking most of our chickens to an Amish butcher about 10 minutes up the road. Once we realized how much simpler that was, we were hooked. So this year we're raising about 550 meat chickens. We processed about 50 of those ourselves early in the spring just to have some whole birds on hand. The rest though are going to that Amish butcher who we really have enjoyed working with. And it has freed us up to raise essentially as many chickens as we want as long as we book those dates early enough. Our one chicken tractor has roughly an 8x10 footprint to it. It fits 100 birds pretty easily, even all the way through that 9-week mark where we send them to the butcher. But that's not really the secret to success. The secret to our success actually happens in our garage of all places. So in our garage, we have two separate brooders set up, and I'll show you those here. The first is where we put our newly hatched day-old chicks. They go into this coop because it is completely enclosed if we need it to be. And we do, of course, have a heat lamp in there, making sure it's that 95 to 100 degrees to keep them happy and toasty. We raise the chicks in this smaller under the stairs brooder for about 3 weeks until I jokingly say they turn into ravenous beasts. If you've raised meat chickens, you know what I mean. So once they turn that corner and really start eating a lot more, drinking a lot more, that's usually when it's time to switch them to the bigger brooder. Our bigger brooder is actually just a shipping crate that my husband got for free from work, which has been fabulous. It's roughly 4 foot by 6 foot, about 3 feet deep, really nice size to work with. We lined that shipping crate then with thick plastic to make sure that it's waterproof because we don't need any of that leaking out the bottom. Gross. Once we knew it was waterproof, then we always put about 2 inches of shavings down and do more of a deep bedding method. They'll be in this brooder, hopefully, for only about 2 to 3 weeks at the very most. And in there, we do still keep a heat lamp, simply because the weather around here in Indiana is pretty unpredictable. And meat chickens, as a general rule, do not tolerate cold temperatures well, even into the final stages of their life. We always use a safety loop whenever we're using a heat lamp where we have a backup in case the hook fails or in case it gets bumped off. Nice thing, though, with meat chickens is they're not nearly as flighty as laying hens, and so they're a lot less likely to fly up and knock that light off, but you still want to take those precautions. We don't need any fires. Once the chickens hit that 5-week mark, then we consider them ready to go outside. That's about as feathered out as they're gonna get. We put them out into that 6x10 coop that I mentioned earlier, and the way we do it is that coop, when they're only 4 or 5 weeks old, we move it about every other day. Once they get closer to 6 weeks old, we're moving it every single day. And then here at the end, where they've only got about a week left, we're actually moving that coop sometimes twice a day, just to make sure that they have fresh grass the entire time. They have plenty of room in this coop to move around freely. They stay very healthy through the whole process. We rarely have issues with, broken legs and joints that aren't working properly. We might have 1 out of a batch of 100 that happens with, so really happy with that as well. They're getting fresh grass, so they're getting a much better variety to their diet. That variety in diet makes them taste a whole lot better once it is time to process and consume them. On top of that, though, it's a much cleaner and more ethical way to raise these chickens, and we can rest easy knowing that we're doing a good job, giving them a good life while they are here. In our area, we end up raising these birds out for about $6 to $8 per bird, and we end up selling them for about $15. This is one of the very few things on our farm where we just about double our money on it. We end up making between $6 to $8 in profit off of these birds, and we've done the math, and that's true for the whole birds as well as the cuts, because we can sell the cuts for a higher price per pound. We order our meat chickens exactly 5 weeks apart. That seems to be the sweet spot when it comes to our setup. At 5 weeks apart, we know that those mature chickens will be gone and off to the butcher, and we have room then to move the ones out of the garage into that big coop. So that timing has worked really well for us. One of the tips for success is when I was going to order these chickens, I'm calling the butcher shop before I ever order a chicken online. So I got to make sure that I have a butcher slot before I have a chicken, right? We order through Mount Healthy Hatchery, highly recommend them. One other tip for success is I highly recommend keeping the heat lamp in the coop outside. We also keep a tarp on our coop outside. So as I've mentioned, meat chickens do not do well with cold. They do particularly horribly with wind and rain. And so if it is windy, rainy, and say 55 degrees, that's enough to kill quite a few of your meat chickens. We have found that out the hard way. So we keep a tarp there to block the wind on windy days. And then we do keep a heat lamp out there. We run them close to the house so we have extension cords that will reach. And then if it drops below 50, we turn a heat lamp on. I would rather use a heat lamp and have them not really need it for 1 or 2 nights than not use it and wake up and have 20 dead birds. That's my worst nightmare. As always, make sure you're following all sorts of safety protocols when it comes to those heat lamps. We always end up tying ours off with the cord. We also have wire in place and a hook. So if anything, it's triple checked that it's not gonna fall. I hope you found this video helpful. Just know that even on a much smaller amount of property, you could raise quite a few meat chickens and you can make some actual money off of it. So it does not have to be a huge scale. We would love to get one of those hoop coops and do that style, and we may do that in the future. But for now, for us to be able to raise 550 chickens in 1 year with one small coop, we're pretty proud of that. Please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have a comment, comments help us out so much with our growing channel. We've appreciated you watching. This was Courtney from Ruby Red Farm, and I hope you all have a great day.